We're starting off high.
We can get
I think
two fools agree on that one. Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot. Ah!
you had accountability. Now, what I can...
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
No, not even.
Where, give me the money. Show me the money.
Apparently there's a Foolproof page.
Shoot the J. Shoot it. Live on Facebook.com/Foolproof Entertainment Network. I need you on Twitter. I need you to repost the Facebook pages.
To raise a human before I would
Trust a human to raise back wolves.
before I would trust a pack of humans to raise a wolf.
Right. I hear you. Yo, what up, fools? Welcome to another edition of Do Fools Agree. Back to you live from the Citadel Studios in downtown Columbus, Ohio. 43205, come find me. As always, I'm here with my main man, Clifford Jordan Jennings. What's going on, Cliff?
Not shit, my brethren, not shit. I would like to add that this is what do the young kids call it?
A mashup, a crossover.
A mashup, I think is what it may be.
That's true. So go ahead and do your intro.
This is a mashup with the Hit the Showers podcast. To all my shower heads, we got lazy today. We just gonna do it all in one whop for you.
And I mean, at the end of the day, it's nice because it's, I mean, the topics that I think we've got on hand are good crossover topics because there's some shit going down.
Man, listen. When ain't it some shit going down?
Right. That's true. True enough.
But how's your week been?
I mean, shitty. But, you know, at the end of the day, I want to give a quick shout out to my stepdad, my cousins, you, Casey, you know, a whole host of people. Am I forgetting somebody? My uncle, Len. I think that's it. For all their help today with the move. We managed to load up all of my shit from my previous house in about an hour. And we managed to unload everything in about an hour and a half. And I've already got a lot of shit unpacked. So
I'm listening like I wasn't involved.
Right.
In
you looking like you weren't there.
Right. I'm sorry. Somebody texted me and got me sidetracked.
No, I get it, man. I've been on that Tinder and that Bumble, and I get sidetracked a lot these days.
Well, that ain't what I'm sidetracked about.
And just before we get into anything, because I know there are baby mamas out there that are concerned about drinking. This is non-alcoholic, so don't give me any shit. Thank you.
Man,
but I needed a beer, and Brewdog got non-alcoholic now, and I'm like, all right, I can get the best of both worlds right now.
What's it taste like? Is it taste all right?
Tastes exactly like the other stuff, man.
For real?
Yeah, I'm drinking Hazy Jane right now. It's Hazy AF. Alcohol free, I believe, not as fuck.
Right. Listen.
Right? So, you know, I had to throw that in there because, you know, people want to assume shit and fuck them.
I ain't no assumption. I mean,
at the end of the day, whatever I want to do, I'm going to do. And right now I'm deciding not to drink. So,
well, that's your choice, and
right.
I'm rocking with you regardless. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't even feel like that's information that needs to be disclosed.
I understand, but you got to remember what neighborhood I just left, man. And you got to remember
Good fucking riddance.
that is my son's school district. So
Good fucking riddance.
I'm gonna get ahead of any of that bullshit before it starts. And no doubt, I am with you. I am home. I got the cat with me. Her name's on the mortgage from before. We're good. Although if she keeps knocking this camera, we're going to have problems.
Say you got in trouble for a regular old fucking weekend.
Right.
It's a regular old weekend for a lot of people.
Yo, shit. And in this neighborhood, it would have been a Tuesday.
Right. Listen, that's a regular weekend for a lot. I guess you weren't. Nah, let me not. I guess you weren't in that tax bracket to do the thing.
Yeah, I guess not. Especially with only one of us making money. All right, we're going to move on before I get salty about shit. How was your week?
I had a decent week.
Yeah.
I had a decent week.
Good.
As I say on this podcast so many times over, I judge my week off of my work week.
Yeah.
Of course, shit goes on outside of work, but the work week is what indicates how well my week goes.
No, I hear you on that.
A fucked up work week usually indicates a fucked up week in general.
Yeah.
And I'm good at trying to compartmentalize, and leave it at the desk, but
you can't always do that.
Not always, yeah. Sometimes that should just stick to you.
No, I feel you on that.
For the most part, this week was not. I can't complain, and if I did, who would listen?
Right. No, I mean, while the week overall was shitty, work was decent, and then we won. We won last night, so that always helps.
That's what's up.
And honestly, we played Marion Pleasant,
okay,
who is a perennial playoff team.
Okay.
They run wing T, so it had me a little nervous because we're not always good if somebody goes right at us.
Right.
These dummies, though, let me tell you something. These dummies.
You talking about the
Marion Pleasant.
Right.
Marion Pleasant. These dummies decided they were going to come out and try to throw a bubble screen on us. We have some of the fastest talent in Ohio, let alone the entire state 4x1. I think they were fourth place.
For real?
The entire state 4x1 fourth place, whatever place they did. They made the state meet.
And
we had a state qualifying 4x1 team, all of whom are on the field.
Right. That's why I was about to say, do you have two of them?
No, we have all four. All four. Yeah. All four on the field at the same time.
They used to make us run track in the off season.
Yeah. Well, and we don't necessarily make them, but
it wasn't a requirement, but it was a
strongly recommended that you do something.
Right. You wasn't playing if you didn't.
Right. Well, so these dummies come out. We end up their first two games they faced a 4-man front, so like a 7-man box. We came out in a 3-4, which means we had a 5-man box. And these idiots tried to throw a bubble screen and threw it behind the guy, which was scooped and scored on the first play of the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it was done from there.
So, wait, just to make sure I'm understanding correctly, so it was so far behind him that they considered it a fumble?
Yeah, they considered it a backwards pass.
Exactly. Okay.
Yep. And then the same kid.
So he got his hand on it.
A little bit.
Because he kept it in bounds.
Right.
He just didn't get to.
And then, the kid that scooped and scored had 4 carries for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns.
So he was playing running back too.
Yeah.
Ooh, you got some Iron Man out there.
Well, and I mean, like I said, it was only 4 carries, so he's a receiver, but he jumps in the backfield. So like all of our receivers.
So he did that from the corner position.
Yep.
So how many blockers did they have in front of him? Did he
nobody, because he beat the one blocker.
Okay.
He beat the one guy that
But
was
that's
coming
the
for
issue.
him.
They didn't do it out of a trips. They should have
Right.
did it out of a trips.
Right.
It'd have been a little more comfortable.
Yep. And so from there, it was off to the races, man. There were like 4 or 5 80, 60-plus yard plays. So
that's what's good. That's a rebound from last week.
Well, Northland we stomped too. But Northland wasn't
y'all
that
had
great.
2 since that first loss.
Yep. So we're 2-1 right now. We're on the come up, and we got Grandview this week, and that should be no comment. We should be fine.
I don't think I might have skipped a week. I think my life fast forwarded.
Well, it's because we didn't do the show last week.
Oh, that's what it was.
You weren't feeling well, and I was fucking beat after the lightning delay, the brawl, all sorts of shit. Last week I had 2 defensive linemen score touchdowns.
For real? I love seeing that.
I
love seeing that.
Unfortunately, it was the 2 that annoy me the most. I love them, but they know they're the most annoying to me.
Continue annoying him and scoring touchdowns.
And so one was a safety that the kid ripped away and turned into a touchdown. And the other one was a D tackle nose guard who somehow scooped and scored. Northland just didn't chase him because Northland had enough speed on the field to catch him.
Right.
But handled his business, scored, got the 6. So
that's what's up.
It was a little crazy.
That's what's up, man.
That's the high school season is underway. We're almost halfway through the high school season. And meanwhile, college just now getting started.
4 games? Y'all 4 games in?
We're 3 games in, so next week will be 4. There's 10 games in a season. We're not quite halfway, but we're in the middle part of the season is what I would say.
And how many y'all got to win to make the playoffs?
Well, that's a good question because they expanded the playoffs this year. So it went from 8. What does that
mean exactly?
It means they went from 8 teams in a region to 12.
Oh, so it's easier to get in.
Yeah. So the season actually started a week early because they wanted to start the playoffs a week early.
Right.
And so that's, we'll have to, if we have a winning record, I don't think 500 will get us in, but if we have a winning record, we should make it. We should have enough points.
But y'all 2-1 right now?
Yep. And we've got 3 tough teams left. We got Watterson, we got Harvest Prep, and
Watterson's always been consistently decent.
Yeah.
Decent. I won't say great, but they've been consistently decent.
Yeah, they've been a little cyclical lately. I like joking with the defensive coordinator at Whitehall, especially once we put Watterson on the schedule. I looked at him, I'm like, just so you know, as a defensive coordinator, I am the only person at St. Charles to have a 500 record against Watterson.
That's not a bad record.
No.
Especially with St. Charles, too. And I'm not trying
to we hadn't beaten them since my freshman year when I started coaching.
Yeah, I'm not trying to down St. Charles. It's just tough to get good talent out of there.
Right, because they can't make
the tuition, the grades, everything that comes with it is just so tough to. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't. The line I like to use, and I think I've said this before, but my freshman class at St. Charles had 5 or 6 all-state football players.
For real?
I was the only one that graduated from St. Charles.
Right.
We had a quarterback that went to Dublin Kaufman. We had a running back that went to Central Crossing. Your boy Terrence went to Hartley and then to South. Vic was a wide receiver.
I didn't know he was there.
He was there freshman year. And then Vic went to UA and me.
That was always my threat. You keep fucking up, I'm gonna send you to St. Charles. And my little ignorant ass used to be like, you ain't affording it. I'll be off the boarding school before I'll be off to St. Charles. Believe that.
I mean, St. Charles ain't as expensive as CSG or Academy, but it's up there.
Listen, and I don't know if I might have rather went to boarding school than St. Charles. Fuck that. I'm good.
You good? So what are we getting into tonight, man? What we got in terms of topics?
You gave me a segue a while ago, and I'll bring it back to your segue.
All right.
But since we're mashing it up, just a quick, of course, we got to show love to Ohio State. even though they definitely didn't impress me.
They did not, but they did what they were supposed to do. It's the first
Right.
week of the season. That was a trap game, honestly, because it was away, it was a night game, and it was early in the season.
And Minnesota's not the worst team. They're just good enough. Well, let's be honest. When you're used to playing like the Toledos and
Right.
the right states out the gate, not right state, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean, like the no names out the gate, you picked a good team to start out with. You started out a little stronger than Ohio State usually does.
True. And honestly, like, this is part of the
segue was defensive touchdown, tackle touchdown.
Yeah,
is why I wanted to say that. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that when it comes to that game in particular, at the end of the day, it's the Urban Meyer philosophy that won out there, because Ohio State has so much more talent than Minnesota does.
Right.
And so it is if you recruit 5-star guys, you don't have to worry as much, because even though Ohio State was fucking up the first half, they finally woke up in the second half and it was off to the races. And that's that's a talent thing. Like, they have enough talent that they should be able to hang with anyone, and against probably 80% of the Big Ten, if not more. They have more talent and they're going to win those games.
You know what's interesting about what you just said is because what's great about that is they play similar to the best boxers.
Yeah.
Like Canelo, Mayweather.
Feel it out. Yeah.
Like they'll download you before they go in for the kill.
Right.
And that's why usually they say Ohio State's a second half team. But another reason why I was kind of like, damn, like you're still letting them get off right now. Like I haven't really ever seen that to where you downloaded them and they're still getting off on you.
Right. No, absolutely. And
that made me a little worried. Like, what happens when you go up against a real offense that's going to run you to death?
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't mean literally run the ball to death, but I mean like run your best players.
When you play that SEC team, you can't afford to start slow the way they did. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you're gearing towards, right? Like Ohio State, the expectation is to be in the playoffs.
And you said it.
And you're going to play an SEC team.
And you said it, going against the SEC team where they have so many wide receivers so they can just switch out. Because that's all SEC, ACC, it's usually speed. It's DBs, wide receivers.
Yep.
So if you got enough wide receivers, you can just keep running streaks with somebody that don't even plan on catching the ball. Right. What do you think that cornerback's going to do when they put that guy in there to really do you in?
Yep. Exactly. And I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because Big Ten style football is so different from the SEC. Like, to your point, like the SEC wants to run tempo. They want to run fast. Like, other than maybe Bama, who is fast, but they're a smash mouth team.
They're a balance of both.
Yeah.
They're a balance of like Big Ten ball and ACC ball together.
Yep. And that at the end of the day, that's the reason Ohio State struggles sometimes in the Big Ten when they do struggle is they're going up against power run teams. And they just don't have the strength in the middle.
You know why? You said it. You said it right there. They don't have the strength in the middle.
They don't have the D tackles. They don't have the inside backers. Like even Shazier, who was a good backer, he was an outside backer, wasn't he? Like he was the last decent linebacker we had. Yeah. Well, and again, the game's changing a little bit in terms of there is more passing. There's more 3-step drop, that kind of stuff. Linebackers are more cover guys than run guys now. You don't have that, that 6'4", 250 Mike linebacker anymore. Right. 240 Mike linebacker.
They move him to the end.
Right. They drop him down.
Right. And that's what's crazy is that when you look at Ohio State's defensive prowess, it all comes to the edge rush.
Yeah. Absolutely. No.
Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Chase Young, the list goes on.
All edge rushers. And again, that's the prototype in the NFL right now too. You still don't, even in the NFL, you still need a good defensive back core.
and Ohio State never focuses on that. They may get a decent safety, not
Right.
a above average, a decent one, and a hopeful cornerback.
Right.
What's the one African dude that came out?
Oh, I'm blanking.
I am too. I can't think of his name.
But yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But that, like him, and then Arnett came out after him. But even both of them, like once you get into the league, you get swallowed.
Right.
You know the best cornerbacks are coming from the ACC and
the SEC.
Come on.
Again, it's the speed thing. It's track guys that converted.
And that's why I think Ohio State has trouble, because even before Urban Meyer noticed something about Ohio State before he came. He noticed that they were in the Big Ten, but they had the ability to be a SEC style, ACC style team. And that's what he attempted to kind of turn them into.
Yeah.
Kind of. But they can't fit because they're not used to it.
So funny that you bring that up. Did you see the rumors that were swirling around the Pac-10, the Big 10, and the Big 12 being in talks? Did you guys talk to basically be the northern version of the SEC because the SEC has expanded so much?
Yeah, I heard some. Yeah, I heard some of that.
I wonder if we're heading to basically a north-south, like basically two major conferences.
You think like for each conference, like a North Big Ten, South Big Ten, all that, like SEC, all that?
Yep, I think that's what we're heading towards. Like, and you'll see 20 teams in the conference. You'll have a North and South, or you have an East and West, or a North and South division in each of the two big super conferences.
That would be very interesting. I think that might shake things up in a good way.
No, I don't disagree. I think what it does is it puts the smaller D1, big one, or the smaller D1 schools at risk. I don't think you see. Well, I guess Boise State's in what? Are they Mountain West still, or did they move to the Big 12? They're in the Big 12, right?
That's a good question.
I think they're Big 12. But
are they?
Anyways, either way, like that's the only thing that worries me is that do you still end up with like those shocker teams, or is all the TV dedicated to the two super conferences?
Well, the shocker teams never get a chance anyway. They can do whatever they want, and it's like, damn, you still didn't make the playoffs.
Well, I mean, I don't know when the last time we saw a shocker team go undefeated was. We've seen a number of them like get to 8-2 or 9-1, like those types of records. But I don't know the last time we saw an underdog team like that or a smaller school go like undefeated in the regular season. You almost have. I mean, at this point, you pretty much have to. You have to go undefeated if you're a smaller school, or if you're a big school, you can only have like one loss. Right. I mean, that's at least historical on the playoffs at this point. When are they? Do you know when they're expanding the playoffs? Because they've basically,
I heard about that. I heard about that, but they've been talking about that for a while.
Well, yeah, they've been talking about that since they decided to go a 4-team playoff, which was fucking stupid.
But I thought they did. I thought they agree. I thought that already happened for a bit. It just wasn't as many as they thought it was.
Okay, maybe it was 6. Maybe it was a 16, and then the top 2 got buys. I can't remember. I mean, at the end of the day, what it should be is 8 teams. You should take the 5. Well, I don't know that you can consider them 5 power conferences anymore, but you take the 5 power conference teams and then 3 at-large bids.
Okay.
So you take the Big 10 champion, the Big 12 champion, the Pac-10 champion, the ACC champion, and the SEC champion.
Right, and then you
take three at-large bids from either non-power conferences or like the runner-up in a power conference.
I would feel like you gotta give at least 2 to 9s.
I hear you, but
they deserve to be there.
I hear you, but it's a money.
You don't get to see an upset if you don't let them get in to right, and that's what it comes down to.
That's what it comes
down to, the money. But we don't get an upset if you don't allow them.
I agree. I completely agree with you. honestly, I don't know why. It baffles me that like the high school level and the NFL can do like rankings and divisional champions and that kind of stuff, and NCAA refuses.
Right.
Versus having like the selection committee and all that bullshit. Like,
right. Not right.
So.
I mean, you said it. You said it. Comes down to money. It comes down to top earners. All that plays a part.
Absolutely.
Them ain't top earners. I don't care if you go undefeated. You're not a top earner for us.
Right.
And even if we marketed you in a way.
Well, that would be my thing, is that I think you can always sell the underdog story.
Oh, listen,
America loves the underdog story.
I stick to the underdog now.
Right. So why? I don't know. Because at the end of the day, I mean, they want the power. They want the big power conference schools because what really they want is the alumni base of those big schools to tune in and watch the game so that they can get more advertising money. And you may have people that follow close enough to like root for the underdog, but people aren't necessarily going to tune in for the underdog. Unless they upset somebody in the first round, and then they'll tune in to watch the second round.
Well, I don't know. I think things may be changing a bit.
Well,
listen,
it definitely is.
I know it's two different sports, of course, but when you look at how like More Than Atlanta rallied behind Atlanta off of their basketball run this year, and they were like, look at what Trae Young and them are doing. Like, they almost made it to the chip. They played in the conference finals.
Right.
Nobody expected them to even really make it like that.
No doubt.
And they did all that. And it's like, maybe this generation, the question is this generation into sports as ours was?
Yeah. And
because I do think that a level of this generation is looking at it from a different view than we ever did.
Completely agree with you.
But I don't know how many of them are into it as like, we just had the conversation, like, and I'm not saying it's right, but when we were growing up, everybody played football.
Right.
Even the guys that are now gay, that didn't want anything to do with it, parents still made them play football.
And that goes back to, one, football has seen a decline because nobody.
And I'm not saying that there aren't gay guys that want to play in Nasib.
Right.
Even though you should get traded, but
it's interesting that you bring up the comment around like, are younger people into sports? So I'm gonna go back to the Tinder and Bumble thing.
Okay.
Women under 30 very rarely will list like, I'm a fan of the Buckeyes, or I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. Women between 30 and 40,
all of them got a
team. All of them root for either Ohio State or Cleveland or Cincy.
It's funny you say that, and there's a reason why, because the same way we were forced into, and I'm not saying I wouldn't.
Oh yeah, me too. Like I was not forced into football. I was forced to stay at it one year, but other than that,
I was kind of forced into it, but it was for a reason. It was like, this is what you're here for. Do it. Like, you got the gene, do it. Like, type shit. And I enjoyed it, so I don't want to say forced. But the women, what were they forced to do?
Cheer. Or band, or be at the game in some form or fashion.
It didn't matter, and I'm not trying to be funny. Attractive or unattractive, you cheered. Because a lot of them, brothers and sisters, if your brother's playing football, you're cheering on the cheer team.
Yeah. Well, and again, football, because at least back when we were growing up, roster sizes were like 70 plus, right? We're talking 80 people in a class, even at a big school where the roster's like 120. Their friends, girlfriends, families, everybody was going to cheer them on. What you have seen is the decline in participation in football and the subsequent decline in uh, fan love for football
Right.
because there's
You
less
gotta
people
love it.
playing it.
You know what? I'm gonna hit this last point, and then we're gonna move on to a non-sports topic since
All right.
we're doing the mashup. But with you saying that, did you hear Tom Brady's point?
No.
So Tom Brady did a podcast, and it's so fucking commendable, but it's also like kind of hypocritical to me at the same time, right?
Right.
But he's the only one that could have said it. He said that he thinks currently the defense is being penalized for offensive mistakes.
Yes.
And I said, I agree. Well, I mean, we didn't have a conversation.
I was about to say, you know Tom.
Yeah, I wish I did. He'd be a lot further than where we are. But as he was, like, as I'm watching the video, I'm talking back to it. Like,
Right.
You're right. I agree. And he was basically saying, like what you're doing currently with the NFL is you're allowing a quarterback to misread a defense and get an open rush. He said a quarterback may miss a blitz, like not notice a blitzer coming. And when that blitzer blindsides him, you throw a flag.
Right.
And he said that's not on the defense to protect us as quarterbacks.
Well,
now what you're doing is you're putting it on the defense to be like, okay, I should take him down soft because no, it's not. He said a quarterback should be able to read, know when somebody's coming from the blind side. Like I've been saying, he said a quarterback should never throw his wide receiver into any sort of, and anytime a defensive player gets a big hit, that's not his fault.
Right.
That's the offensive
It is
player's
just as
fault.
much the offensive player's fault. I completely agree.
I don't even think it's so much defense's fault. Unless you're literally leading with your head, it's not your fault. I don't care if you put somebody out for the season. That's not your fault.
Did you happen to catch? Did you happen to catch the Penn State Wisconsin game today?
No, I was watching Michigan. Who they play?
Were they playing Western? Were they playing some MAC school?
Yeah, it wasn't a good game. Michigan was blowing them out, and then I watched Tua Tagovailoa's little brother, Maryland, and I can't remember. I can't remember the games I watched. Listen, I was tired after all that bullshit. I was half asleep when I got home.
No, dude, I'm with you, and this is a crossover episode. It might be a short one.
Listen, that's why I said that might be better.
No, that was a good call. It was a good call. So in that game, they threw 2 flags on the same guy for the same fucking thing.
Wait. What game was this?
This was the Penn State Wisconsin game.
Okay, Penn State Wisconsin.
They threw 2 flags on the same guy for the same.
Good game too.
It was a 16-10 game. Penn State.
That was a good game.
Penn State should have won 20-10. They missed a chip shot field goal, and then the same dude missed a fucking extra point. Meanwhile, I know there's better kickers out there who didn't get scholarships, but I'll let it go.
That's just shot, man.
But no, they threw kick catch interference on this dude twice, and it was not.
Like off a punt.
Yep, off a punt. Basically, what used to be known as the halo rule, which doesn't exist anymore.
Where you got to give them the 5 yards before
or 3 yards or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was something around there.
And flagged him for it twice, and I lost my shit on the second one because I'm like, that is bullshit. That was a clean hit. The guy was able to field it. Like, the guy held on to the ball. And it was a boom, boom, and twice they threw the flag on him. I'm like, man, like, that's that dude's fault for not fucking fair catching.
Right.
Like, that's in the rule for a reason.
Listen,
if somebody's closing on you, fair catch it.
I will never forget. I played for Gahanna. This was my first year playing for Gahanna in the 8th grade. And I didn't know that I was playing for the wrong team because Gahanna is so fucking big. There's so many teams. and I played for, I guess, what they called their 7th and 8th grade team. That's where I started playing with Casey.
Gotcha.
But that's because I'm a year behind in my age group. They wouldn't have put me on that team because I was a year
back.
So, but a player for, I can't remember what team, I want to say Groveport, caught a fair catch and caught it. Everybody stopped and took off and hit a touchdown. And the ref let it go. We lost that game.
Damn.
That was the only game we lost that season until we made it to the championships, and I had the flu, and my mom wouldn't let me play. She wouldn't let me be Jordan. She wouldn't let me be great. I was supposed to be Jordan. Game 6 with the flu. But listen, that was my first. The reason why I said that is because you was talking about the fair catches.
Yeah.
But that was my first introduction to, oh, you're playing in the suburbs now.
Right. No, I hear you on that.
Like, this wouldn't have happened inner city because
he would have been murdered.
Well, we're all the same. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, like, you know, like, I don't even mean to be funny or sound crazy, but when it comes to, like, when you get that kind of racism in sports,
yeah,
it's because you believe someone has an edge.
Right. No shit.
You believe that there's an edge on the field, whether it be race or whatever the case may be. So you do little shit to try to even the odds.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's the whole, I don't like taking black teams outside of 270.
Listen, I'm with you on that.
Because you got off the bus down 17. So
Right.
All right, you wanted to transition. What time?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Damn, all the shit. I feel like I wrote shit down. Give me 1 second.
All right.
Back here.
We'll give him just a minute. Cliff doing his thing, you know, never prepared. Oh, look, he got a notebook. He's back.
Yeah, I'm back. Because with Do Fools Agree, I'll be writing as I work.
Right.
Because I'll be listening to podcasts and shit, so I just jot shit down. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. But I thought I had an inadvertent, because we definitely skipped them over.
We definitely did. My fault.
No, that was my fault, because I went into the hit the shower shit. I don't know where I wrote it at.
I had several inadvertent.
I got one off the top of my head, but it's not the one I'm looking for. But go ahead. What was you saying?
No, I was just going to say I had several inadvertent thoughts this week, none of which I should repeat on a podcast.
Well, don't do that then. But you know what? And it's funny you say that, and I don't know if I know you as much as I know you. But I had an interesting inadvertent thought. Probably a night or two ago.
Okay.
And I was thinking about the relationship between pride and proud.
Okay.
And I was thinking how they're so different, but they're so related at the same time. Because if you're usually proud of something, you have pride in something. But pride in something can hurt your goals.
Yeah.
And proud of something usually never hurts anything.
Okay.
Like being proud, like whether
almost...
I'm proud of you for what you do, that doesn't hurt anything.
Right.
But my pride in you can hurt everything.
Okay. All right. I think I was taking it the opposite way, but yes, I get what you're saying, because I had the same thought when you said it, which was like I was thinking of so you're looking at it almost from an internal versus external perspective. Like,
is that right?
Having
show me
pride in something to me is like you do a good job because that's just the way you are. Like I I'm a person who gives
I'm following.
100% to everything that I do because I have pride in myself
Yourself,
and how
right.
I show things to the world.
Right.
I am proud of stupid accomplishments I've had in the past, whether that was football, whatever.
Right.
And so I look at it, I almost look at it from like the reverse angle, but I think you and I are hitting on the same heart of it.
I just kind of think, I don't know, and don't understand that this is an incomplete thought.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you to help me chime in to figure out what I'm thinking. But I look at it as, do those things, those accomplishments in the past that made you proud turn into pride?
I would actually flip it. I would say that because I had pride in what I was doing back then, I am proud of the accomplishment. But being proud of the accomplishment can have unintentional negative effects. Meaning, if you're too proud of something, you're not working on other shit. You know what I mean?
Right. No, that's right. That's the downfall of pride.
Right.
But yeah, no.
It's hubris, right?
You said it's what?
It's hubris. It's what we've talked about the human, about the basically overly proud of something, or over pride in something, or what hubris typically becomes is arrogance, where you think you are better than you are, and it ends catastrophically. It's a literary device that started with like Greek tragedies, which is it's the whole Icarus flew too close to the sun.
Right. I guess bubbling down to brass tacks, I guess my question would be, when does proud transform to pride?
And I would say it the reverse way, but yeah. So,
you would say it
because I think it's pride. Well, and again, I've got the reverse connotation. I've got pride is inherently a good thing, meaning if you take pride in what you do, versus being proud is of something you've done, which means if you are overly proud of it,
I'm following.
You're no longer putting in the work elsewhere.
Oh, see, okay.
So I think you and I are saying something that's similar. I'm just flipping it in my mind in terms of, like, I think you're putting the negative connotation on pride versus proud, and I'm doing the opposite, which is putting the negative connotation on proud.
Right.
Pride.
And see, I guess I'm just saying that because, and when I say, okay, so I can be proud of someone, right?
Yeah. And again, you were also looking at it from
I don't know if I ever become, I don't know ever have pride in them because I'm proud of them. You know what I mean?
So you're looking at it from
pride
a more,
is for you.
Right.
That's not for me to be prideful of you.
Right.
I'm prideful of myself, not you, because I don't know how far you can take my proudness.
Right. No, I get what you're saying. I'm tracking. So I would look at it. I would come back to my first comment on this, which was mine was more egocentric and like internal focused, whereas you're looking at it more from the external focus. So being proud of someone is a good thing, but if you have pride in them, one, they can disappoint you.
Well, I think
two,
of yourself
you
as
don't
well.
you don't have the ownership to be have pride in.
To be prideful.
Right.
Because your decisions don't make a difference in that situation. What they were doing made you proud, but nothing they have done should make you prideful.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm with you. I'm tracking.
Now, when I think of it in myself, like, one thing that you said when we first started the conversation, you said you worked hard because you had pride in what you did. But the first thing I think of is you didn't have pride in it until you were proud of yourself for how good you did it.
I mean, I don't know. That comes back to, if I am invested in something, I am 100% invested.
Right. It's that football mentality. Coaches drilled it into our heads that you should have pride in what you do, and that's what makes you succeed. But first, before you can have pride in what you do, you have to be proud of yourself for
True.
being able to do it.
I hear you.
Otherwise, you'll never have pride in what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's like, I guess what I'm saying is like, if those two words or emotions or whatever you call it were relatives, I would have to equate them to twins.
Yeah.
Like you would think they would be cousins or no, they would be twins. And when I think of twins, I would think of like Cain and Abel.
Good and evil. Yep.
I don't immediately equate pride to evil. It's just pride is a dangerous line to toe.
Yeah,
where it's like you could cross over to Cain, or you could be very prideful and be able, but you're riding that line throughout regardless.
Right. No, I'm with you. I think that makes sense. And again, it comes back to, literary devices from Greek tragedies around hubris, and pride comes before the fall, right?
Right. and I just think that's why at least why I associate it with not so good, because it's like you should never stop learning.
Yeah.
You should never stop observing and absorbing information. So when you're prideful, usually you're content with your ability. That's not enough. I don't care if you got everything you want right now as far as moving forward. That's not enough.
Yeah.
You're still breathing. The
Right.
reason why you have everything you want right now is because you're chosen. Do more. And pride kind of puts you in a position like, I'm good.
Right.
I'm proud of everything. I'm good.
Right.
That's not enough, though.
No, and I
gotta
completely
keep
agree with you
going.
on that sentiment, that having pride or being proud puts you in a situation where you're resting on your laurels, you're not changing,
Right.
you're not adapting, you're not moving forward.
Right.
And honestly, completely get that right now.
I was just, I don't know, it was just like it was like a high thought,
Yeah.
a high thought where I was just like, where does the line draw for me being proud of something or someone to having pride in it?
Yeah.
And what it came from, and I'll be 100% honest, and it's the same thing, not to get too personal to you, but it's the same reason why I felt like Bexley could stir up some leaves.
Yep.
Because Gehenna does for me.
Yeah.
And I seen somebody put Gehenna pride up, and I was just thinking like yeah, I'm proud that I went there.
Yeah.
I'm proud that I had that experience.
But you don't have pride in that community.
I don't want anything to do with it. Even the posts rubbed me wrong.
Right. Well, and honestly,
shouldn't.
I feel the same way about St. Charles.
So that's what I'm getting at. So I couldn't imagine what it would feel like to try to relive that life.
Especially because my entire time in that area growing up
wasn't a good one.
Was not a good one. It was
Right.
very negative. It was very exclusionary almost. Because I got there, coming in late, and especially into a Catholic school,
Right.
it's hard, man, because Catholic schools, you start there and you finish there. That's just what they do.
Right.
And if you're coming in middle school and these kids have been together since kindergarten, you're always going to be the outcast. And I was lucky because I had you guys, and I had and I built, actually no, because I didn't even build the friendship with Ashley until like 8th or 9th grade. Like we got closer after high school.
That was earlier because I was
You were
out of
still
there
there.
by 8th.
So 7th, I guess. So she and I ended up being friends and being but she was also an outcast.
I know what you mean though, but that's what I meant by when I said the neighborhood in general is a legacy.
Yep.
Your grandparents lived there, your parents lived there. You don't just live there.
Well, and
you don't just point. You know how people spin a globe and say, bam.
Yep.
You don't just take a map of Columbus and point your finger or throw a quarter in the air and wherever and hits Bexley and you say, I'm going there.
Right.
Nah, it doesn't work like that.
Well,
that's not the way Bexley works.
And in fairness to my soon-to-be ex-wife, like, she didn't have that experience. Her only experiences were in her profession, and she liked the way that school system operates, and it's a great school system. But I had a lot of baggage from that area. Like,
and I listen, as many friends as I had there as at that school, I do too. I
hear you. And I get it.
It's just not. Why do you listen when you hear me say something like you live in Bexley, but I'll drive around, I'll drive the long way to come. That explains it to you. It's just that was not I enjoyed times there,
right?
But that wasn't a place for me.
No, and I'm with you. I mean, at
just
the end of the
Gehenna
day,
was not a place for me.
Right, and being there was so emotionally draining all the time because I had to have, and honestly, the one time it wasn't, the one time I dropped my guard was the shit that went down. And it was a situation where I was so mentally and emotionally exhausted from having to deal with, neighbors, people in the house, like even just feeling like I had to have the armor up all the time.
You know what the difference is between being somewhere like there and being somewhere where you're welcome?
Yeah.
Is people understand intent.
Exactly.
And they'll be like, bro's tripping, he's drunk.
Right.
So put him on the couch.
Right.
But when you're there, a little situation gets to, oh my gosh, because
you're a them now.
Right. Listen, you already walked up with a nigga.
Right.
So make one false move, bruh, and it's a problem. So that's why I say that's a sunken place. If you hear a spoon hit a glass, take cover. I don't care if it's a cheers, a graduation, a bar mitzvah, because they got a lot of them there.
Right.
Hit the dirt if you hear glass and cover your ears. That's all I'm saying. I say good riddance. I say I'm upset right now, and I understand it's not like I'm upset. I'm just saying it for entertainment purposes. But that I can't do the first podcast back in the fucking crow's nest.
Well, that was on.
It's all right.
Was on schedules. And
it's gonna be many more to come.
There will be.
I enjoy being home more than I enjoy being anywhere.
I'll have everything set up within the next day or so. I'll just leave it at that.
Nah, we good, G. You ain't got what. Listen. You the day one, as Drake calls it. When he say my circle's so small it turned to a period, you're in that circle, that period.
And I appreciate it.
So.
And likewise, I mean,
right.
That's always been my thing. Like I've gotten better at faking it. Is what I've done. I've gotten better at faking it, and
well, you got a good friend in me because I can't.
But it is emotionally and just mentally.
I can't. That's why I
draining.
can't. And that's why people be like, you're not lonely or depressed. No, I am at peace.
I actually enjoy being by myself.
I am at peace. Y'all are the ones with the issues with the relationship. I'm at peace right now.
Right.
Is everything the way I want it? No. But that's why I'm at peace, because I'm working towards it. I can't do that with you here.
Right.
They say if you want to move fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go in a group.
Right.
And I'm not saying I don't want to do both, but right now I got to make up for lost time.
Completely agree with that sentiment.
You know what I'm saying? So I got to go alone. That doesn't mean that I'm leaving the people behind. That just means that I have to travel by myself for a minute.
Yeah. You're scouting ahead.
I can bring y'all.
You're scouting ahead.
Oregon Trail, my G.
Fools agree.
We have one of them in a minute. And that was a good one to agree on.
And I would like to do a callback real quick to that Penn State-Wisconsin game. The Penn State place kicker can hit the showers. How you miss a 26-yarder and an extra point? Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got it.
Man.
You know it's fucked up, too? Because you're still in college, right? You probably got a scholarship kicking. In the first game of the season, you do this. If, and I know that's a big if, that you would ever click on this video, Penn Station kicker, don't get in your head. Just do what you've done all your life. You wouldn't
do what got you the scholarship.
Right. You wouldn't have made it this far if you didn't have it. Get out of your head and just do it.
Right. Right.
I would make my kicker kick with his eyes closed.
Not a bad idea.
Blindfold him, put a helmet on him, and just kick.
Right.
Don't worry about it. Just kick. Just feel it. Just kick. I don't want you thinking. Just
take your steps, close your eyes, and follow
kick.
through. I'm with you.
Just kick.
I mean, that's why they're supposed to be so repetitive in their motions and stuff. That's why you see them take an exact number of steps back, an exact number of steps to the side, exact same stride.
But with that being said, does that do you think that the business aspect of it has pulled coaches away from being able to actually coach their players?
I think a little bit. What I would say is head coaches, especially at the Division I level, are not coaches. They are general,
but they can at least assign.
They are general
and say,
managers.
I want you to work with him,
and that's where you have good teams. Good teams are good because the head coach has hired good assistants.
Okay.
I would actually say the same
the coach
thing.
May be good, but that guy I'm saying, please work with him.
Right.
May not be.
Right. And what I would say is, and Rod will probably agree with this, the head coach, Rod coach.
Okay.
He's the head coach at Whitehall. Rod's the same way. Rod doesn't coach kids directly often, but he has put together a great staff. Everybody on the staff knows what they're doing. That's and honestly, 40, that's the biggest difference.
40% of the battle.
Absolutely.
That's not even 50 because you still have to let your kids know that you're invested in them, regardless that you might not be the one that's hands-on with them. So that's 40% of the battle.
Yeah, and what he ends up doing is he'll always talk at the end of practice or the end of a game or whatever.
Right.
Or before a game or whatever the case is. But
I don't want a celebrity coach.
No.
You know what I mean?
The Harvest Prep coach is a celebrity coach. I'm surprised they don't have a statue.
I can't get a hold of.
Right.
I need to talk to you right now, and I wasn't that kind of player, but I was very vocal. I was very vocal.
Yeah.
If I don't have your number, I'll definitely be tugging your fucking polo on the sideline while we're playing.
Right.
Because I didn't get to talk to you before this, and I feel like you're not seeing this.
Yep. No, I'm with you. I get it. I think that's actually one of my strengths is I've done a good job, especially with this year's group. I've got good relationships with all of my players. And
that's good to hear.
I've got 3 seniors. No, I've got, 3 seniors, 2 of which have played for me for almost 4 years. One who did not play for me because he played his freshman year but then didn't come back out for football until this year. And then I've got a junior who I anointed as a sophomore as he is the next big thing. And he has been phenomenal.
For real?
White boy too, man. White boy.
Listen,
Ralph.
I'm not, you already know, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. Now, of course, I love my people. Let's not get it twisted. But I think the best man should have the job.
Yep. Well, and like I said, he is my best defensive lineman right now, and he's the junior.
You don't have rights. No. well, I don't mean rights. Do you have the availability to show film?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all on Huddle these days, and so.
But they would allow you to like show it on YouTube and all that.
Yeah.
We should do like a watch session,
like a Monday morning quarterback kind of deal,
with players that would be interested and go over plays, like show the plays on YouTube and go over coverages. And
we could do something like that.
If I think that could be a good thing.
Well, and I tell you what, that may be good for the channel in general, because I've been talking about for years, kids do not understand the game these days.
And that's my biggest issue. Biggest issue.
All they think is fucking Madden, dude. All they think is Madden, and they just know like, oh, these bubbles here. Oh, like they don't even know what the bubbles mean. Like
right. That's my biggest issue. So I feel like if we could get like even a couple sit down at one time and we
do football 101 with the fools.
Right, all that.
I tell you what, man. You should know this. You know the gaps, right? A gap, B gap, C gap, D gap, E alley. And do you know techniques? Like a zero tech.
Back in my day, it was numbers. It wasn't letters, but it's the same.
Same concept. So A is between the center and the guard. B is between guard and tackle.
Going outwards.
Numbers are how you line up. At least in the systems that I've been in. So a zero tech is head up on the center.
Right.
A 1 tech is to his shoulder. A 2I is inside shade on the guard. A 2 is head up on the guard. A 3 is
Yeah, that's not hard to pick up, but
no, but
that's not what.
But the thing is I've literally had that conversation like 12 times this year. And like I've drawn it up and it's still an issue. That's where I'm like, I don't know what else to do sometimes, because I'm like, I need you in a 2 tech. Like, I need you head up on this guard.
What I can say is, without knowing who you're coaching, that sounds to me like those players don't understand formula.
Right.
They understand vision.
Right.
So you have to get them to understand the formation, to understand why you line up on that inside shoulder.
And I will tell you that that's something that I've talked about a little bit with the staff. Like, and it's interesting just because St. Charles, I would give them a playbook with all of that information in it, and I knew they would read it.
Well, that's a difference, though. That's a difference.
I agree.
They're in that academic school to where they're gonna.
But every year, I have asked for us to have like a 1 hour. Maybe 1 hour once a week during the summer of just a football 101 course. Here's what a hook to curl zone is. Here's what the flat is. Here's what a deep third is. I think that would be good.
I think if we did that, honestly, I think that would be good, because that would honestly give knowledge to these players.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's a you can put that in your highlight reel.
Right.
For colleges. Like,
here's what we were running here.
Colleges want to see you understanding information as well. They don't just want to see you running routes. So when they see you putting in work on the offside, that's impressive.
Yep, I agree with you. So we might have to look at that. Maybe that's something we can do in the off season and do like a football 101.
I think we should.
And I bet Huddle has enough like. So Huddle has basically like play drawing functionality. We could do that where basically we would share one screen, still do video, and you and I, between the two of us, we
like
could
show highlights of a play, and then we can put it up on the Huddle and show like cover this gap, and that doesn't happen.
Yep, exactly. And I mean that's the intent of watching film, anyways. It's you were supposed to go this gap, you went this gap, and do you see what happened with this 10-yard gain?
Right. You don't have to be the guy that makes the play.
No.
But you're always the guy that makes a difference.
Yep. And that's the thing
Even
with
you
football.
hitting that gap the way you're supposed to, even if that ball doesn't go that gap, you're still causing the offense to crash on your block,
Right.
opening it up for somebody else to make the play.
Well, and that's my line to defensive linemen all the time. It's if you're not taking on 2 blockers, you're not doing your job.
I agree.
Like, if you're not being double teamed, you better fucking make the play. Otherwise, you shouldn't be starting for me, and you're probably not even going to play for me.
I hate to have to do it to you, but I'm about to piss real quick.
All right, so keeping it going with the football talk. I mean, it's interesting being in a school like I am now with football. It is. We've got to find different ways to reach the kids, and I think that we have a little bit too much of an old school mentality, but I also think that we run the risk of discounting what they would be willing to put in. Meaning, if we would do almost a classroom or a video like session where, here's what cover 1 is, here's what cover 0 is, here's what cover 2 man is, here's what cover 2 is, here's what cover 3 is, etc. Like, there is a lot that you can do on that front, and it's just things that you can't learn from a video game, which is where 90% of these kids these days are getting their football schooling. And so not being able to translate what's on the video game, because I mean, I'll tell you, I play Madden, I play that stuff, I've played NCAA, and if you know what the guys are doing, you know where you're vulnerable. Like, if you're running cover 2, you are vulnerable in that middle area. If you are running cover 3, chances are you're vulnerable to the flats, you are vulnerable to hook curl, etc. Like, that is the thing that it's just hard to teach from a visual standpoint. And I wonder almost if you actually could use video games to teach it, but basically pause it and go into like the free camera mode on Madden and say, this is cover 3. This is a 3 high look. You have a corner that's 8 yards off. You have a safety that's 12 yards off. You have a corner that's 8 yards off. Because what they are responsible for is a deep third of the field. An outside third is between the hash and the sideline. A middle third is between the hash marks.
I don't mean to cut you off, but that was the issue we were having with the flag, is that, like I said, the best athletes that were out on the field just didn't understand the coverages. And they would tell you to play in a coverage and be like, so the biggest issue was that because it's 8-on-8. So basically you treat it like a 7-on-7.
Yep.
The defense was trying to run a 1 high, so 1 safety in the back, which is extremely tough to do in an 8-on-8, first of all.
Right.
And they said for the corners to run a cover 2, but play 15 yards back.
That doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
You can't run. Cover 2 is corners or smash mouth.
You're basically the flats. You're catching the bubbles.
You are jamming at the line, and then you're looking for you're looking. And then
the safety picks up behind me.
Right.
But the safety can't pick up behind me if it's only one of them back there.
Right.
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 So here's the thing. So, and I understood what they were saying, right? They just didn't know how to say it. Because basically what they were saying is they wanted you to play off because it's flag.
Yeah.
But it's still regular football at the same time.
You're still running the same concepts.
It's easier to get the tackle in front of you and play back than to play up and stop it from happening. But why not stop it from happening?
Right.
Right? If I'm the corner, if I'm the cornerback, everybody knows it's a skill position. You should be able to cover 20 yards front and back.
Yep.
If you're not quick enough to cover that, then you can't play corner.
You're in the wrong position.
So I should be able to play up and guard you back to still release to let you go.
Yeah.
So why am I playing 20 yards back if in 8-on-8s, first downs every 20 yards?
Yeah, no, that's dumb.
So why the fuck am I giving you a first down?
Right.
Or at least a catch and extra yards
Right. I'm hot routing that all day. Run the 5-yard hitch.
And that's where we lost, is that people understood, like, okay, we can't go deep. Because I know what you mean. With the one high, you want the corners back, so the quarterback has to force it up instead of zipping it in,
Yep.
which gets you a pick. But how many times does that happen?
Well, and it depends on your talent on the field. Like, that was always my thing. Go ahead.
Well, listen, if you're not, listen, that's a go for broke play that you're hoping for. If you don't stop them on the first 3, you don't get to go for broke play, bro.
Right.
So if we're playing 20 yards off, we're not stopping them on the first 3 downs.
No doubt.
You don't get that opportunity for that interception.
Nope. I'm with you. And I mean, flip side of all of that, I've had 2 all-state safeties. Like, everybody knows me as a defensive line coach. As a defensive coordinator, I've had 2 all-state safeties.
Right.
I had a kid, Ben Hale, who I think you remember, who played at Bowling Green.
Definitely remember.
Who we ran a fair amount of cover 3 with, and
he was in that song, the second one. That was the second one.
He was.
Yeah, I remember.
And then Davion Johnson, who was my free the last 2 years I was there.
Yeah, I don't think I know him.
No, because I think we had stopped doing the songs by that point.
Okay.
But I ran cover 2 robber with him. I would play corners back and just let him rob the middle, or let him rob wherever. And man, whoo, buddy.
But you gotta have
a
decent linebacker core to do that too, though.
You do. But the flip side is, like, I had enough talent in the DB spot, it was fine. And I also am a fan of running an inverted cover 2 in the right situations. Like, if you run cover 2 for, you know, the first quarter or the first half, and then you start mixing in inverted cover 2s where you're basically pressing the safeties down and the corners bail.
Okay.
That is a fucking killer for anybody that is like a heavy slant, heavy hitch.
If you got good corners.
Right. If you've got the guys that can do it.
Ooh, speaking of, I gotta send a message. Britt said she thinks she got a squad. I gotta let Dominic know. This will be the first year me and my brother ever play together.
That's awesome, man. Because he played
15 years younger than me.
Don't be mad when you guys will be on the same
13.
team.
He's 13 years.
It's good that you two are on the same team.
Nobody's burning me. No, and I say that, and I know nobody, like, listen, I haven't lost it like that.
Yeah.
I haven't lost it like that to where I don't care if I'm on I was playing the Beechcroft quarterback coach, and he's a very athletic dude.
I'm sure.
And I was guarding him head up. Nobody's you're not getting it on me. And it doesn't matter, like, okay, height matters. Like, yeah, you may be able to head top me if you can jump high enough.
Right.
But they still have to have enough confidence to throw it that way if I'm guarding you correctly.
Yep.
And if I'm guarding you correctly, it's not coming to you. I played cornerback for 6 years. It's not coming to you.
I tell you what, man, that is the thing with Andrew. Like, as big as he is, I'm waiting to see, like, how he ends up thinning out, because his instincts in terms of baiting people into, like,
he's gonna be A1.
He does it in basketball all the time, and he is the only kid his age that I see do it. Like, he will be behind and will step forward and, like, bait the pass and intercept it and take it.
I'm gonna say something else to you, and it may hurt you in this situation, or it may help you. But Andrew is the one. Andrew is the child that I've ever seen that I think, like, everything pans out correct. Like, size.
Yeah.
He has size from his mom. He has size from his dad. If everything pans out correct, he has opportunity to really do something.
Oh, no doubt.
Now, here's the thing. And this is what I said that may help or hurt you. This situation currently is going to do something to him.
Yep.
And I don't mean that in a negative.
I'm actually
like, of course, he's going to be dealing with things, of course.
Yeah.
But it's going to do something to him to where it's like, because I went through this. I don't get to see my dad every day.
Yep.
This is what makes him happy. I'm going to make him happy. Yeah. Especially if you really love what it is that you're doing. My dad loves football. My dad loves boxing. I'm going to knock whoever out, and I'm going to run the ball as hard as I can.
Yep.
And that's a lot when it comes to a kid's will with something on top of it that's pushing.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's the perfect kid to do it, man.
His thing right now, and the only thing that worries me is discipline.
And I'm gonna tell you that's
the only thing I worry about with him. And that's the only thing I worry about with 50-50 custody. Like,
Bexley's not gonna help with that. It ain't even about 50-50 custody. It's about
what he's around.
Because his mom is a warrior.
Yeah, and she does a good job too. Like, but she's a little more lenient than I am.
But she's not a soft mom.
No, she's not. She's not.
So
if I have to say anything wonderful about her, she is a great mom, and she always has been.
Right, she's a great person.
She is.
Sometimes matches don't match. That's not a big deal.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is that right there, the only thing that could hurt him from really making something is losing love.
Yeah.
Like losing the love for, like, I just don't see why I'm doing this.
Well, that's part of the reason why
I got to that point too, where it's like, I just don't see why I'm doing it.
I actually hope that he lands on football late. Meaning,
right.
Like, he plays basketball, he plays soccer, he does swimming, and then when he has the opportunity to be around football, I hope he wants to play. I will tell you, part of what I've been thinking about, and he's about a year or two too young for it right now, but like, still talking football, but like, have him on Friday nights come and be a water boy or be a ball boy, just to put him around the sport and put him around it, and like, see how energized I am by it, see how happy I am with it. And you want to bring the
fire out of him too. Like, that's one thing I can say about him is that he's let's be honest, he's privileged.
He is, but he's got a streak in him if he needs it.
I'm sure he does.
He does have a little bit of that Reggie passion.
To make it to that next level, you got to have more than a streak in you. You got to...
Yeah, no, you have to have passion about it.
And that comes from situations you go through. Yep. So,
I mean, you and I have had this talk on the podcast many a time. If my dad doesn't die on my 11th birthday, do I even play football? No, I don't think I do.
I think the whole trajectory changes.
Right.
I don't think we're as close.
I probably stay in that small private school system longer. Not saying that that's where I go to high school, because my dad wanted me to go to St. Charles, so maybe I end up at St. Charles, but I don't play football in middle school. I don't use football as an outlet for all the pain I had in my life.
We were always close, but I feel like that camaraderie, that loyalty that was understood once it hit the football field was like, oh.
Well, it was that, and then it was coming back and us being in the same school for 2 years right there at a very formative time, especially at a time, going back to the earlier comments about feeling like an outcast in that area. Like, you and I mean, you did a better job of kind of socializing with that elements of that crew than I did.
Right.
Because you were cute, you were charismatic, all that shit. And I didn't have that. What I had was football.
You do, and you always have. That's what you just ain't. You ain't pick it up. You ain't pick it up until you got pride.
Calling it back again. No, I agree.
You didn't pick that up until you got pride, and once you got pride, It was very noticeable that things changed in Michael Reggie.
And it also helped that between 6th and 7th grade, I went from being a very pudgy kid to I extended like this over the course of 6 months. And I went from being round to looking athletic kind of like within a 6-month period.
You're welcome.
No doubt. No doubt.
You're welcome.
It's funny.
If the football up out of you,
right?
Get that fire out, Joe. I see the fire in you. You want to hurt something.
If you look at rec league, if you look at my photos from like the NCS and the NCIL baseball or up there up north, the difference is just insane between 5th grade and 6th grade or 6th and 7th.
Oh, I bet.
Insane.
I bet. Yeah, no, you just.
I'm kind of going through that transformation.
And you know what's crazy? I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just about to say I'm kind of going through that transformation now again, which is nice. I just need to get back to the gym. You know what's crazy is
I was always, and I know you know from knowing me, but I was always considered the nice kid, like too nice, like to where when my dad brought that out of me, like it was okay to unleash. Like that's what you're in it for.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're not playing football not to unleash aggression.
Right.
You're in the sport because you're aggressive and you need a way to release.
I mean, honestly, that's why I lift now. Like
and you know what? That's the best therapy I can think of.
Yeah.
Because I don't care how much I want to run through a brick wall. I don't care how angry I get. When I wear myself out in the gym, I just don't have anything left. Yep. And I feel good about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, completely with you. Honestly, that's the reason why I still do a lot of the Olympic lifts. Is it's the only way that I feel like it's the only way I feel like I can get that out these days.
Yeah, me.
Now I do think that there's one other activity where I feel like I could get that out a little bit.
Well, that's.
But I've been missing out on that for 4 or 5 years. So.
I'm just laughing.
If you'd like to know what that activity is, find me on Tinder or Bumble.
I get it, and I'm not mad at you one bit.
Oh man!
And I'll keep repeating that till you get sick of hearing it.
I appreciate it.
I'm not mad at you.
I've gone through some very, very cyclical stuff lately.
And you know I'd be the one to tell you I'm upset with you if I'm upset with you.
No, I know.
I'm not mad at you one bit.
Well, that was the other thing, like having that crew today, packing up and doing all that, and then kind of just airing everything out, like, and not one person looked at me differently.
I could tell it felt good for you.
Yeah. So
I knew you needed it because when you started, I was just thinking like, why?
Right. Well, it was therapeutic for me.
Right, and that's when
I almost needed that validation. You know what I mean? Like, am I crazy for thinking that this is crazy?
No, but you don't need that validation though.
No, I understand what you're saying I will tell you, like,
I understand.
You know what I'm saying.
Well. Right, and I understand it felt good, and I saw that it felt good for you to release.
Right.
And that,
if nothing else, just to vent and get
it.
Right, just to get it off my chest, like.
But it was like, it's unnecessary. Like, everybody here loves you.
No, I know. And at the end of the day, that was not about filling them in. It was more about I needed to say it, and I needed to get it off my chest so I can move forward. And.
Now I get it.
Let's do it.
It ain't nothing you can do to throw me off.
I mean, if nothing else, my custody is Thursday afternoons through Sunday mornings, which means I'm open for hit the showers on Wednesday nights.
Listen, well, you're in. Well, all I gotta say is I guarantee you this. you're worried about it right now, about not seeing Andrew and all that. 2 months down the line, I don't want you to feel like you're being selfish.
Yeah.
But you are gonna feel like I'm good. Like
Right.
like being by myself and having him when I can, I'm good.
Yep. No, I'm with you. And honestly, the other thing that'll help is that even though it's going to be hard during football season because I'm basically losing 2 days.
Right.
The good
You're
thing.
Still good though.
I am. And
y'all share nuts.
Right.
Y'all share balls.
Well, and at the end of the day,
different. Testosterone is, and I don't just say that to be ignorant. That's different. Testosterone is different. There's nothing that a mom can do to stop a child from being like his father.
Right. Right. There's a lot of inherent there.
Period. It doesn't. Listen, there are parts of me that are like my father so much I can't stand it. And I don't care if you're watching, Pops. I love him to death.
You were supposed to be on, so you should be here to defend yourself.
Yeah, and I'm going to give it to him later. But there are parts of me that have traits of my father that I'm like, honestly, I'm like, I see why, like, my mom may have, pushed me away at times.
Right.
Because I have those same feelings with my daughter, where it's like, oh, you're so much like your mom. I'm going to just need a break.
Right.
Like, you're my daughter, but I just can't. I'm not going to argue with you like I did with her.
Yeah.
So have a break.
Yep. No, I hear you.
But with you, it's different. She's going to be experiencing that, which means she's going to need help as well.
She will.
Which also means I will be upset if you just leave her like that.
Yeah, and no.
And I know you won't.
Yeah. I'm actually...
But I said I would tell you if I ever was upset with you.
And that would be a situation where you would need to be upset with me. I agree. And I mean, like, even with football and everything, screwing up the schedule or that kind of stuff, like, the nice thing is their house is on my way home from Whitehall if I go down Broad, which is fine. And I plan to stop by, say hi, bro. Give them a hug, all that stuff. So.
You're blessed. It may be a tough situation, but you're blessed at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's all you need to understand is that somebody's watching over you.
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
That's the truth. But let's get back on it. I want to get back on. You see how I just cut the... Yeah, I do that.
So Did you guys talk about Bishop Sycamore?
Yeah, man. That's why I wanted Pops on there because he put together a real thoughtful text about that.
Oh, really?
About the kids more so.
Yeah.
And when we talked about it last Wednesday, I have no qualms with the kids.
No.
I don't care if
the
oldest kid was 23. If you allowed him a shot to play, I'm taking it.
Right.
So I understand.
Well, especially because once you get past high school, football's not guaranteed for a lot of folks.
And it's a passion, man. I didn't know how much I really loved it until I put cleats back on, and I was like, man. Like, I see how, like, people play into their 50s on flag and shit. Yeah. Like, I understand. I get it. Especially if you came up in that era.
Right. Right.
I get it, man. But at the
same
time,
that's why I lift, because what does it remind me of? It reminds me of, I mean, a little bit of the glory days, but, like, I still got a step. I still got the strength, like,
and then
it's
remembering
refreshing.
I liked working out with the team.
Yeah.
Working out is different from working out with the team, and I always worked out with the people I was striving against.
No doubt. That was me.
And it was never like a, like a animosity thing.
No.
I just want to get where you're at.
The year going into my junior year and going into my senior year, Althouse and I lifted together. And Althouse had me in upper body, he had me in the bench, and I had him in cleans and squats. But we were close enough that like my proudest moment working out with him was knowing that he had a better bench than me by probably 50 pounds. But then we did the combine. We did the 225, and I beat him by like 3 or 4 reps.
See, no, that's when. Listen, that's when you realize that conditioning means more than strength.
It definitely does, and that's
because I definitely want the guy that's lifting 220 more than the guy that's lifting 425 more than he is.
Yep.
He's going to keep going.
And that's the thing with like why I preach so heavy about whether it's power cleans or hang cleans. Because at the end of the day, that's where your power comes from. That's where your hit comes from.
Well, what it comes from is heart.
That's true too.
Heart is, I don't care if you're the weakest player on the team. I'm not going to say the slowest too. You can't be the weakest and the slowest. No,
that's not a good combo.
I'm just be honest. That's not going to get you there. But you can make up for your lacks with heart.
Yep.
A lot of people don't have heart.
Right.
They just don't have heart. They're just not going to dig like a lot of people do.
Completely get it. Like there were a number, I'm not going to say every time. It was a heavy percentage of times where like I would win sprints or perimeters or whatever the case was in high school, and I was not the fastest kid.
I ran a 4.68 40 when I was 13 years old at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Like
they had pictures combine and everything. People was and that's a blessing just that my grandfather took me to that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got second in the field goal competition. I missed a 35-yard field goal.
See,
but he was a grown man. The grown man beat me.
The grown man did.
Yeah, he was grown. He was a grown white dude. And I was thinking, as soon as I seen his complexion, you got me. You got me.
I mean, that's actually a very good point. How many black field goal kickers are there?
You don't see kickers.
No, you don't see black. And
they
it's not
equate their leg strength to kicking. They equate it to speed.
I guess all of the potential black kickers are probably playing soccer somewhere.
Well, the dude that used to play for the Raiders, King, was it Jacob or Joe, or it started with a J, I believe. He
probably Jason.
He kicked the right. That sounds more. He kicked Derek Carr's 30th, not 30th. He ain't 30 yet. It was his 28th birthday cake. He punted it though, like he punted it. But he was the only kicker that I've known, other than the YouTuber Destroying. Have you heard?
Oh no, him? I'm gonna have to look that up.
I think he's a professional. He was a professional kicker for the Patriots. He played for the Patriots at one point. I don't know. But he's a kicker, like a punter and a field goal kicker. No, I don't think he kicks field goals. Now that I think about it.
But he was a punter.
Yeah, but you don't see black folks kick it.
No.
And I think, if I'm just being honest.
I mean, our quarterback punts, but other than that.
If I'm just being honest, I think black folks would make for the best kickers. Because they got them big thighs. Them thighs are legendary.
It's funny you say that. I used to get looks from her about this. I'm like, Andrew's got a black butt. Like he does. He's got that big ass, those big thighs.
It does poke out.
He's got that. He's got that athlete ass. Which is why I know he's gonna stay with sports, because
I went to work at the airport, and I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, go for it. You're good.
I went to work at the airport, and it was a coach. He coached for he had a ring and everything, like on his hand while he was driving. It was a championship ring, and it wasn't no like little check. It was I can't remember who he
probably a conference title somewhere.
But as soon as I walked on the bus, he was like, you used to play running back? I said, yeah. He said, I can tell by your ass and your thighs. And I didn't even take it as like no weird shit. I was like, it's kind of like how you used to smack motherfuckers on the ass in football. Like, you didn't think about it like gay. You just thought like good shit. Like,
well, I mean, honestly, that kid, that senior who came back out, the only reason he's in the starting rotation is because I could tell from his build that he could play.
Right.
Like, we have another kid who is a junior who is strong as fuck. But I look at him and I'm like, he's not athletic.
I tell you what, though, he would not have been able to say that to me if he didn't have a ring on his finger. You got your ass in your thighs. I'd have been like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? I'm about to get fired. But I knew what he was saying when I sat down and talked to him. I said, oh, yeah, he's a coach.
Right. No.
He's the old man that has nothing else to do and he's still working. Because he was a shuttle bus driver.
Right. He's just doing it because he wanted to get out of the house, probably away from his wife.
Listen.
I love seeing old dudes like working those kind of jobs because I'm like, the only reason you're here is because you don't want to deal with something at home.
And you could tell he was the one that like enjoyed it. Like he probably annoyed people because he would talk to you. Like he was just like, what, like how's your day going?
Yeah.
I enjoyed every time I seen him, I lit up.
Yeah.
But
no, I hear you on that though, because I am the last person who wants to talk to anybody.
Right, no, going into work, you'd be like, and it was always in. He never worked the out shift.
It's because he was up and had nothing else to do.
But I worked the late shift, so I was coming in at 2, 3.
Gotcha.
And I worked till about 2, 3. 12 is when I should have gotten off, but planes get delayed and shit, and you gotta stay. So
when did you
I've worked more than 12 hours daily before.
When did you work there? I don't
remember. At the airport?
Yeah.
At the rental car spot.
Okay. All right.
At Enterprise, Alamo, and all them.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember that period.
That was right before I worked for Verizon.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was right before the Verizon. I left there to go to Verizon.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I mean.
All right, what else you got in terms of topics, man? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm fading a little bit.
Okay, so let's run through these and we're out.
All right.
We already talked about time. I wish my pops was here because he said it. I feel like Jay, you ain't met Jay. You gotta get on one of these shows coming up because I like Jay, and Jay's
I think I just missed him, the one that I was on, and then
Jay's the other white boy on the show. Not saying we don't want white boys on the show. We welcome all the white boys. But
and I'm not white. I'm light.
Right. So Jay's the only white boy on the show.
Don't let the skin fool you.
Right. But first let me rewind because I said I gotta give my dad props. That Jake Paul fight.
Okay.
Everything he said Jake Paul does, he did.
Yeah.
He leads with his face. He could never fight a real boxer. And I know he's thinking about Tommy Fury coming up. And Tommy Fury is not good. I'm not even going to say he's not the best. He's not good to me.
Yeah.
But if he has the right trainer, he puts Jake down.
Got it.
Jake Paul led with his face the entire fight. Tyrone Woodley caught him one time. Well, no. He caught him with 3 good punches, but he caught him one time and knocked him damn near through the ropes and stood there and looked at him.
Rather than following it through and following
what
up.
The fuck? I was thinking like right when I saw that, I was like, oh, he's not winning. You don't deserve to win.
After
when
that,
you think about somebody that's producing as much money as Jake Paul, do you think they're going to give you a decision victory?
No.
And you're the fighting legend?
Right.
Why did you not finish him when you had a chance to finish him?
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
This is not the UFC.
You don't stop until there's a stoppage. The same thing I deal with like coaching football. You play through the whistle. Not at the whistle, through the whistle.
I would have been more satisfied with the loss if he got disqualified.
Yeah.
Like if he went at him like trying to fight and like bell rang, extra hit, you're disqualified.
Yeah.
But at least try though.
Yeah.
Because the whole fight he was stalking him, and what he did prove is that Jake Paul can't fight on his back foot. But that's another thing though. If you're not a real boxer, you don't know how to fight on your back foot.
Right.
Jake Paul has only been fighting for 3 years now. You don't just learn how to fight off your back foot without being in a fight where you have to fight off your back foot.
Right. No.
Your jab, your straights can be just as powerful stepping backwards as stepping forwards. But a lot of fighters don't recognize that, so it's like they get nervous when they're backing up the whole time because they think they're getting pressured.
Right.
But the actuality is they're playing into you. They're playing into you if you do it right.
That's where you hit them with the jab and then you come back with the hook.
Keep jabbing them the whole
back
time.
Foot.
They're gonna
that back foot.
And you know it's funny that you said that.
And I don't even know, like, I am very much a casual fan of fight sports.
Right.
But I know that.
But it's funny that you said that because the punch that he kept hitting Jake Paul with was the overhand right. And you're absolutely correct. Easiest punch to counter an overhand right is either going to be a straight punch or a quick hook. Bank. And then that's the end of it right there.
Right.
You hit them with a quick hook while they're trying to swing over the top, they're rocked.
Right.
No matter who it is. Tyson, they're rocked. And Jake didn't understand that. And Tyrone didn't understand that because he kept doing it.
Right.
You kept doing it. And it wasn't like you weren't getting hit. You just weren't getting hit hard enough to care. But you also weren't getting hard enough to know that you were losing.
That you were losing. Right. And to your point, Jake Paul's the moneymaker there. So if it comes down to a decision, you know which way it's going to go.
I honestly thought it was a draw.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I thought it was a draw. Jake Paul won more rounds. Yes. If I'm judging by round, Jake Paul won more rounds. But
you think there was a round in there that Woodley won by?
Woodley rocked him at least 3 times.
Yeah.
And I feel like that evened it out. Now even though that's only 3 rounds of a 8-round fight, those rocks changed the trajectory of the fight. There was a point in the fight where he rocked him at the end of the round, and his trainer spilled ice on the mat. It's an old boxing trick.
Yeah.
You spill ice on the mat like how in NBA they gotta come out there and wipe it all
down when somebody falls.
Right.
Yep.
So if you spill ice on the mat, somebody else has to come after the round is over to get you some extra time to get some wind to wipe that up. I thought you were like, I thought you had it. I thought you were Jake Paul, right? Why are y'all doing shit like that to win the fight?
Right.
And that's not a cheat move. I'm not saying it's a cheat move. That's a smart trainer.
Yeah.
My man needs more
You
time to get his legs up.
Always got to be able to. I mean, rules are made to be bent.
It's not a cheat move. And that's what I want to. It's not a cheat move at all. I commend the trainer for doing it. But Tyron Woodley knows enough about fight sports not to know to take. You got to beat the champ. And right now he's the champ.
Right.
And you didn't want to beat him.
Nope.
Because you were still scared to go in for the kill even after you rocked him.
Right. Meanwhile, I do think that that's something that generally, it's funny that you made the comparison to UFC in a negative connotation. I actually think the UFC generally does a great job with following up and finishing the fight.
Oh, no, they're the best.
Yeah.
They're the best at it because they're allowed to.
Right, because if he hits the mat, that's not the end, right there.
In boxing, it's more so you expect when you hit somebody like that, it's a one-shot, boy.
Right.
I don't have to hit you at 2 or 3 more because
I've got to hit you with one more solid one, and I'm putting you down.
In UFC, it's like, even though you hit the dirt, I still got to finish you
off and prove that you can't defend yourself.
And I think you're right. I think that's where Tyron Woodley fucked up, is because he thought he still had the shot to finish you after he rocked you. Yeah. Nah, it's not how boxing works.
No.
You got to finish them while they're still there.
Yeah.
And you didn't do it. So I understand. I commend Jake for the loss. If anything, I say, once again, it shows MMA fighters that boxing is a different sport.
Right. Right.
It's not just fighting. This is not just fighting. UFC's more so street fight.
It's closer.
Every punch has to count. Every takedown has to mean something. And every submission better be at full go.
Yep.
In boxing, it's a dance.
Right.
I just got to look prettier than you until you show me an opportunity to really take you out.
Yep.
And I'm going to dance around you. And I'm going to dodge your shots and throw them back until you give me an opening and you're out of there.
Yep.
And that's why I don't think Jake Paul could ever fight a real boxer. Well, not ever. Because I am definitely impressed with his current resume. Well, the fact that he just came out of nowhere and has done what he's done, regardless if it's against MMA fighters, is impressive.
Yeah.
But you're still not you can't say I'm a fighter yet.
So when is
you gotta fight a fighter.
When are we getting Jake Paul Mayweather? Because it's coming. Or Jake Paul Connor.
I think it'll be, honestly, and I'm not saying next fight, but I think it'll be Jake Paul, Logan Paul.
Okay.
And then I think you'll see whoever out of those fights,
whoever wins, take Mayweather.
Mayweather will come back for that.
Money Mayweather.
Mayweather will come back for that.
Money Mayweather. He'll come back for
and Jake Paul already, did you see Jake Paul put his brother on his hit list?
Did he?
He said he wants Canelo Alvarez, dumb.
Real dumb.
Gervonta Davis, dumb. Even though Gervonta Davis is 50 pounds lighter than you, dumb.
Right.
And then it was
his brother,
Tommy Fury.
Okay.
It was 5. It was a 5 list. So it was Canelo, Tank, Tommy Fury, somebody else, and Jake. Jake was last on the list. But Jake can't be last on the list because you're not good enough. You know what I mean? So y'all got to fight early to get to the...
Yep.
That's why I say the next couple... In the next 3 fights, you'll see him fight his brother.
Okay. And then
I would fight my brother.
I know you would.
And I know Chris would fight me. So it's like, if we're going to get paid millions...
No doubt.
Like, why
Shit, not? I'll fight my brother for free.
How many times have me and my brother fought for free? And you're telling me for pay? We would love to knock each other out for pay.
And then y'all would hug afterwards and it'd be fine.
Man, are you serious?
What's the reach advantage there? Is it Chris?
Yeah, Chris got me.
Yeah.
Chris is like 5'9".
He's probably young enough too that he still got you in the conditioning.
Well, no, he's been gaining weight.
Oh, has he? All right.
Not to play my G, but yeah, he's been gaining weight. But that's also the second kid. You know how to,
right.
you know, that baby weight is real. When you have a baby, you do get.
Yeah, because you
Get a
can't
little
do anything
complacent.
else, and so you're around the house and you're eating whatever the fuck you got.
That baby weight is real, and now he got 2. He's getting up there. He's not getting out of like, but you're getting like, bro, a couple more years you're gonna be.
Oh man.
But I've been there, shit. I'm trying to get out of it right now.
Shit, me too. All right, what else you got? Anything?
Yeah, we can wrap it up here. I got 2 things, and we can wrap it up.
All right.
Okay. One, which isn't. This is just an announcement, so we can move right past this. Oscar De La Hoya got positive for COVID. So I don't know if you were aware, he was scheduled to fight Vitor Belfort.
Yeah, I actually just saw that right before the show when I was
that
browsing
fight's off.
Stuff. Yeah,
and
that's like the second or third fight. Like, are guys just doing it and ducking it, or
I think so.
Yeah.
I do think so. I don't think Oscar is.
Okay.
I don't think Oscar is, and it's funny that you asked that because that was about to be my follow-up.
Yeah.
But I don't think Oscar is.
Okay.
Oscar.
It's felt like a convenient excuse for like 3 or 4 fights recently.
Yeah, and you're absolutely correct. It's been 4 fights where they have caught COVID, and it's been like, really?
Right.
Well, sometimes they say the team has COVID.
Okay,
like Tiafimo,
so it means somebody in their camp did,
and they're not gonna allow the fight because
somebody was out fucking around last night, and
and you know what? It was Tyson Fury and Tiafimo. Matter of fact, both of them got in trouble like that because they was like, they announced they had COVID.
I mean,
and then they got caught taking pictures with celebrity or with like their fans with no mask. And he was like, no. I didn't catch COVID. My mitt man or my trainer caught COVID.
Gotcha.
And but I'm not the one with COVID. But I feel like even still, why are you still taking pictures with fans
because if you're the fucking world heavyweight champ or the world whatever champ.
But don't they say it can
why
take
you do that? You
weeks?
gotta live that life, man. Live that life.
They say it can take 2 weeks for COVID to kick in.
Yeah.
So you could have caught COVID 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So while your trainer did pop positive, doesn't mean that you're not positive. That
right.
just means that it hadn't kicked in yet, Joe.
Yeah.
So either way, I look at it as a duck. Like you're ducking. Because if you're feeling well enough to hit the town on Vegas and take pictures with fans,
right,
you're feeling well enough to get the fuck in that gym.
Yep. I agree. I think it's ducking.
It's even at this point where they're putting it in the contract where, okay, say me and you are scheduled to fight. I'm the A side, right? I'm the champ. You're not. You're fighting for the belt. I can say, well, we'll fight, but if Mike catches COVID, y'all gotta put me in the ring with a comparable opponent, and I still get paid my same amount.
Right.
Well, how can we do that if you are fighting the next best?
There is no comparable fight at that point.
And you want the same $40 million contract, and we're going to give you the 5th man that's ready to fight on short notice?
Absolutely.
That's ducking. Like you said, that's ducking.
It is.
Not to mention, and this is my last point, Canelo Alvarez's 130-pounder just got popped for a banned substance.
Ooh.
Now it wasn't like it wasn't steroids that we know of. They tried to make it out like it was a pre-workout.
Okay.
Because you know you can't even take pre-workouts if you're like beta tested. But they tried to make it like it was a pre-workout, but he said he took a herbal tea that his trainer told him to take for like inflammation and all that.
They had pre-workout in it.
Canelo has been caught for clenbuterol. He just got caught. It's a third person. I can't think of his name in their group that got caught. At this point, I'm looking at it like, does that somewhat tarnish your name?
Well, that's like USA Gymnastics. After the third allegation, it's probably systemic, not.
And you're right though. Yeah. And that's what's so fucked up about it is because I fucking love Canelo Alvarez.
I know you do.
But it's like this is big, bro.
Right.
Like this is big. You've already got popped. Everybody forgave you. Now your young buck is getting popped, and not to mention the Andrew Ruiz has lost like 60 pounds in the past 3 months. What are y'all doing in that camp?
Right. Hey man, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
I mean, you know what? At some point I understand that, but when it comes to a sport like boxing, where you could kill a man, and I'm not saying you can't kill a man in football. I'm just saying it's a lot harder to.
Right. And
like I gotta literally target you to do that.
Yeah.
Boxing is different. You're expected to.
Yeah.
So when you're taking cheats like that, I just can't. I can't. I'm losing faith in my guy, man. I'm losing faith in my guy.
It does make you wonder.
It does, and I don't want to put him at risk because he hasn't gotten popped.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's not on him.
But at the same time,
still your whole camp has got popped.
If your name is on, if your name's on the billboard, you're responsible.
Right.
Because it's either people you put around it, it's somebody you signed off on. And if it's not somebody you signed off on, one of your people signed off on, and that's still on you.
Right. You got bad folks in your camp. Like, come on, man. Like, it just bums me out because it's like, that was my guy. And it's like, I'm losing faith in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. But other than that, I got nothing else other than, Teddy Bridgewater beat Drew Lock over the starting position in Denver. I was going to ask if everybody thought that was a good selection as far as the starting spot.
I mean, Bridgewater, I think, has untapped potential.
Definitely agree.
I'm
with that.
not a huge fan of his, but
I definitely agree with that as well.
I think that he just needed a chance to develop. And so
it's funny you say that. That's
because wasn't he thrown to the wolves pretty quickly? Like, was he starting as a rookie, or did he get tapped?
I think he came out with the Panthers, or
I think so. I thought it was farther south.
He's been with 6 teams already.
God so damn, he's been with 6 teams. I feel like
he's been in the league for 8 years.
He's been with 6 teams. Again, I had a period there where I couldn't stand watching the NFL because the Bills were awful.
I didn't. That wasn't even my reason, and it wasn't no Kaepernick shit either. But I lost focus. I lost focus in the NFL for a while.
No, I'm with you. I get it.
And that was probably about 3 years ago. So I just came back probably last year. Yeah, last year is probably the first year I really came back.
I'm with you. Last year, actually, I started getting into it, not last year, the year before. And then
I started getting back watching the year before, but I didn't really get interested until last year.
Very similar. And honestly, now, like, I would like to get back into college, but that's going to end up being, my day with Andrew. So
you know what's ironic is I have lost love for college, and I used to like college more because they worked harder.
Right.
But I feel like the penalties and everything just make it so it's like
so
they
bad
can't even
right now.
play.
It's
they
fun.
can't play.
It's funny you bring that up because the announcers even said that. I was talking about those back-to-back kick-catch interferences. Even the announcers were like, this is ruining the game of college football. The NCAA and these decisions is ruining college football.
At the end of the day, motherfuckers knew what they was signing up for when they put that helmet on.
Right. And again, these were clean hits. These weren't targeting calls. These were, he didn't fair catch. He got lit up as he caught the ball. Right.
You go back to Tom Brady. Your mistakes are causing the defense to get penalties. And that's why I thought it was so commendable for him to say it.
Especially from like the guy who the rules are made for.
That's it.
Right.
That's exactly what I said. And that's why I was like, it's so commendable because you're noticing that it's still fucking up the game.
Yeah.
Like the reason why the rule was made for you was because you were good enough.
Right.
But now these new cats aren't good enough, and the rules are helping them look better
than
when
they
they're
actually
worse.
are. I completely agree.
Yeah, I'm with Tom on this one.
I like the way that that's phrased, and that might be something that I just keep an eye out for. Like,
I'm going with Tom.
He should have seen that, or I'm with you.
And Tom threw himself under the bus too. Not himself, but he was like, "Listen, it's a quarterback's job to read a blitz. If somebody hits me from the blind side, that is not the defense's fault.
No, that's
my offensive lineman's fault
line.
or my fault for not noticing.
Right.
But that is not the defense that should have to be penalized for that." And I said, now he's the GOAT.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why left tackles are some of the best paid players in the NFL.
Listen, but you don't want them to hit you either.
No. All right, man. I gotta get off of here. I'm fading.
I'm with you, baby. I'm with you.
You got anything to take us out, sir?
You know, I love you. I love everybody. I love Shar. I love the situation. Not meaning like I love it, but I love bettering everyone. Is what I love. Yeah. So don't ever think that I'm not a phone call or a drive away.
I know you are.
And to all my shower heads and my fools, we love you, and we'll do better. We'll give you more.
We will. We
haven't.
If nothing else, this situation makes it easier too. So let's go.
And I'm not even saying that for that.
No, I am.
We'll give you more. We haven't done what we should have done, and we'll do it.
Hey man, back together. We'll get it going. All right. With all of that, I have been your host, Michael Reggie. As always, tune in to Do Fools Agree live on Friday nights, or check it out on the podcast.
And hit the showers on Saturdays and Wednesdays.
And the Mind and Body Understanding podcast, somewhere between once and twice a week. You can find all of that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, your favorite podcast app. Just search Foolproof Entertainment Network. We love you. Peace out, fools.
Peace the fuck out. Now you know what you're going to have to do though, right?